Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. What's up, everybody? Good morning and happy Tuesday. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk studios this morning. Thanks for hanging out with us and making us a part of your start. Whether you are listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available to stream up online at WAYYradio.com, sportstalk1051.com. You got your smart devices, your smart speakers. And the YouTube video stream, Man Cave TV, up and rolling. Don't forget, if you are on YouTube and checking it out, if you could hit that subscribe button, follow button, bell up there, would greatly appreciate it. But if you are heading out on the roads, I'm assuming it's still the same as it was at like 3:30 this morning. Kind of looking at one of the Skycam TVs in the other studios right now, and it looks like it's incredibly foggy, still incredibly foggy out there. So be safe. That's what we call good old pea soup weather, it looks like out there. So, yeah, put those lights on, and if you are listening, just wait to text us until you stop, all right? So what do we have on our game plan for this morning? We're going to talk some Brewers as the Brew Crew back at it tonight as they're going to open up a series against the Toronto Blue Jays. Jacob Misiorowski is going to be getting his fourth start of the season. But Brewers going to be going up against a tough pitcher as well. Kevin Gausman's going to get the starts for Toronto. So we'll break it down. We'll preview it, all that fun stuff, taking a look at this game and this series. And well, hopefully the Brewers can get back to their winning ways. Right now they're a third in the division, the NL Central. But, of course, riding their 5-game losing streak, hopefully going to get off the schneid with a win tonight. So we'll talk plenty of baseball, plenty of Brew Crew throughout this morning. Also on the docket as we inch closer and closer to the NFL draft, which is next week, we will continue to kind of break down some potential prospects. But on the heels of the Dontavian Wicks trade, which officially became official yesterday, we'll take a look at some potential prospects some potential draft prospects for the Packers, but wide receivers. So we'll take a look at some of the options out there, including who are the receivers that are going to be taking some visits or have taken some visits with the green and gold. How early, kind of an informal poll question to you Packers fans out there, how early would you be okay or would you like to see Green Bay maybe go out there and get a wide receiver? How high on the priority list do you think it is for Green Bay to address wide receiver? Maybe not so much. And think about it from this perspective, not so much for this year, but maybe for next year and the next couple of years. Because from all accounts, if we believe the draft experts and the higher-up analysts out there, this is a class that is pretty good in terms of depth of wide receiver. So should Green Bay take advantage of that this year and make sure that they come away with a wide receiver that maybe could follow in the footsteps of plenty of other receivers in Green Bay that have had nice careers. So we're going to take a look at that this morning. We'll catch up with RJ Cardinal coming your way in the 8 o'clock hour, the latest and greatest from Badger World. Officially official with Chris McIntosh. Now going to be, officially made it. Yesterday was like official day because Badgers announced the Chris McIntosh stepping away. The Packers officially announced the trade with David Wicks, and the Bucs officially announced Doc Rivers stepping down. So, but we'll talk to RJ about that and get his thoughts on some potential replacements for the athletic director position for the Wisconsin Badgers. So we'll hit that up. It is a Toyson Ford Grind My Gears Tuesday. So, let's hear it, peeps. What are your grind my gears? What's grinding your gears this morning? Make it appropriate, and then we'll share it with the rest of the group. Also looking for your I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. All right? I'm not saying blank, but I'm just saying blank. Also, it is a sports confession day. Okay? Confess your sports sins. It's a Feel Better Tuesday. You're getting something off your chest with a little Grind My Gears Tuesday. And maybe you got to confess something from the from a sports perspective, all right? So, get it off your chest. Feel better about yourself on this Tuesday morning, all right? Share it with us. We're not judgmental or anything like that. We're here to help. But we'll hit that up. We had the WNBA draft last night as well. So, I mean, there's lots to catch up on, lots to chat about here this morning. So, let's, and then we got kind of, I mean, do we call it the playoffs for the NBA? Or do we call it play-in games? I mean, what's the technical term in this whole thing? Does it really matter? I don't know. But we've got a couple games here tonight. Miami taking on Charlotte, Portland taking on Phoenix, if you are following along with the NBA playoffs. Stanley Cup playoffs going to be getting going here later on in the week and such. So, but all right, let's get things going here this morning, shall we? We'll get the leadoff started. We'll talk some baseball to open it up. Taking a look at this series with the Toronto Blue Jays. Toronto Blue Jays, a team that a little bit, again, coming in with some high expectations, but when you look at the start to the season, maybe not hitting the ground running or hitting those high expectations. They're 3 games under 500 right now. They're 6-9, so they're looking to rack up some wins. They are winless on the road right now. Brewers looking to end. They're losing Schneid, so you got 2 teams here that maybe really looking for a win. So we'll preview it tonight, or we'll preview tonight's game with an intriguing pitching matchup, and we'll talk a little bit about Jacob Mizorowski's 4th start of the season. We'll take our first break and be back to talk some Brewers baseball coming up after these quick words. As the fields come back to life, it's time for spring sports in the Chippewa Valley. Whether you're stepping up to the plate, hitting the track, or maybe getting back on the field, make sure that your body is ready to perform. At Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, their team specializes in keeping athletes of all ages healthy, strong, and in the game. From injury prevention to expert care and recovery, they've got you covered every single step of the season. So don't let pain keep you on the sidelines. Get back in the game with confidence. Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, helping you move better, playing stronger, and staying in the game. All right, let's get the leadoff going here this morning. Let's open it up talking some baseball as we get back to action tonight for the Brew Crew taking on the fighting Dalton Varshoes and the Toronto Blue Jays this evening. So looking at the pitching matchup, you get Jacob Mizorowski for his 4th start to the season, but it's going to be a tough one on the other side here too. Kevin Gossman going for the Toronto Blue Jays. Even though he's 0-1, in his 3 games started, he does have a 2.08 ERA. He's coming off of a loss against the Dodgers, but he went 5 1/3, giving up just 3 earned runs. In his 2 previous starts against Colorado, he went 6 innings and a no decision, 2 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 10 Ks. Check these 2. That game and his first game of the season against the Athletics, and I get it, it's the Rockies and Athletics, but still. Athletics back at the 27th. Here's the thing, too, is like this line, and you look at the Blue Jays offense and that just no run support, but against the Athletics, 6 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run, no walks, 11 Ks. All right, so his first 2 games this season, no walks, 1 earned run, 3 hits, 21 Ks. And then against the Dodgers back in the 7th, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. And that's the Dodgers too. So I'm gonna kind of expect that we might get the Kevin version of the first two games and that. But that's kind of dangerous, especially for a Brewers offense that may be struggling here a little bit too. So, and when you look at the matchups and the experience-wise, I mean, Gary Sanchez has the most, and a lot of it is probably from his time in the American League and that, but 23 career at-bats. He does have a home run against him, hitting 217 and a 598 OPS. Yelly, which I'm not going to be playing, 14 at-bats, 214, 563. Luis Renifo's got 10 career at-bats and a home run, 200, 773. Other than that, I mean, Hamilton's got 8 career at-bats, 250, 500. Contreras, 6 career at-bats, is just 0 for across the board. Bowers, 4 career at-bats, 333 OPS, nothing for an average, so not a ton there. And then Mizorowski on the other side. Dodgers don't have any experience going up against the Miz Kid. And he's coming off of his first loss of the season, but that was the Boston game where he was awesome through the first 5 innings. It was that 6th inning where the walks started to creep up a little bit. And to me, that has been if we look at Mizorowski. Now, I think Mizorowski is off to a good start for the season. 3.31 ERA, 1-1 record. I mean, he's racking up the strikeouts. But his biggest issue so far, in my opinion, has been the walks. He's coming off of a performance against Boston where he had 4 walks. Tampa Bay, he had 2. White Sox on opening day, he had 3. That, to me, is where he's gotten himself in the most trouble. Whether it's been fatigue and it's kind of the trickle-down effect afterwards. It's been the fatigue, and that affects his mechanics and kind of comes tumbling down after that. Compare it to, league leaders and walks given up. I mean, a lot of these guys at the top, like Severino and Gavin Williams, they've pitched in 4 games, but they've also given up 16 walks. So, I mean, you're averaging 4 walks per game. Yikes. So Brandon Sprota already has 10 walks on his resume here too. So, but you look at Mizorowski, and I think if we were to look at, okay, what's something he could get better at, or what we've seen from the first 3 games that you'd like to see some improvement on, yeah, I think you kind of look at the walks. And you'd like to see those get cut down just a little bit. But 28 strikeouts so far on the season. You got Kevin, who's got 26. Mizorowski's whip is a 1.04. It should be, at least on the surface, again, another solid pitching matchup. Who's going to have the advantage? Which offense is going to have the advantage? When you look at Toronto, let's take a look at Toronto's offense and see what they've been doing so far this season. Okay, so the Blue Jays, in terms of home runs, all right, let's take a look at the power. In terms of home runs, the Blue Jays are 21st in all of Major League Baseball. They've got 14 total home runs. Brewers, by comparison, have 16. That's 13th in all of Major League Baseball. If you're looking at batting average, okay, Toronto on this list, but Milwaukee is top 50. They're 15th. Toronto, meanwhile, they are 10th best in terms of batting average. So Toronto's a 242, and then you got Milwaukee at a 236. But how about OPS? Right? OPS. Brewers, they're top 10. They're 8th, 726. The Toronto Blue Jays, they come in at 18th at a 693. How about RBIs? Scoring, right? Brewers, top 10. They're 9th, 77 RBIs. And this is where the Blue Jays are towards the bottom, is scoring runs. They're 26th in Major League Baseball. So they've got 55 RBIs, whereas the Brewers, 77. Total runs, Brewers top 10, 80. Toronto, they're 26th at 57. Brewers are coming in at 8th. Now, if we look at pitching, this is where the Blue Jays have some interesting numbers. So for pitching purposes, the staff, the team that has the most strikeouts this season are the Toronto Blue Jays. They're coming in, leading the entire majors with strikeouts, 168. Next closest is Cleveland at 166. And Cleveland has, looks like 17 games under their belt, whereas Toronto, 50. Now, to compare it, Milwaukee, they've got 142 strikeouts right now. Opponent's batting average, looking at where each of these teams rank here. So you've got the Milwaukee, they're right next to each other. Toronto's opponent's batting average is 240. Brewers is 241. League best Dodgers are at a 205. In terms of home runs given up, Toronto, their pitching staff has given up 20 home runs, which is in the top 5 in Major League Baseball. Brewers, meanwhile, they've dropped down a little bit. They're 15. They're tied for 60th. They've given up 15 home runs in Major League Baseball. Team ERA, you're looking at the Brewers team ERA 4.16. That's 17th in Major League Baseball. But the Toronto Blue Jays, 27th, 4.81. So, I mean, you look at some of these numbers, okay? Where you look at runs from a pitching standpoint, runs given up. Toronto, they've given up the 5th most runs, 82. If you're wondering where Milwaukee is on that list, they're actually like top 10. They've given up just 64. Earned runs, Toronto's given up the 5th most, 73. Milwaukee, they're top 10 again, 61. But Toronto's pitching staff, the one thing that they do very well is strike out. They can get batters to strike out. They can give up runs. And they have given up runs so far, but they can strike out some batters. So it's going to be an interesting comparison to see where, I look at if we do like keys to victory, key matchups and such, this Brewers offense that has been struggling the last few games. Yep, they put up some decent amount of runs in that series finale against Washington, but the games before that, struggling to collect some hits and struggling to score some runs. Now you're going up against a Toronto team that is off to a little bit of a slow start this year, that it has struck out a lot of batters from their pitching side, but has given up some runs. Which one's going to prevail? Is Toronto's pitching staff going to be able to go out there and K the heck out of this Brewers lineup? A Brewers lineup that, when we look at it so far, has been all pretty good at not striking out. I mean, they're top 10. They're 7th best in terms of total strikeouts. And on the flip side, though, too, the team with the fewest amount of strikeouts from an offensive side, Toronto, 104. And you got the Miz Kid going on the mound. There's a lot of parallels to both these teams and some interesting matchups. Which one's gonna kind of rise to the top, or which one's gonna lead whatever team to victory here? Are the Brewers offense going to be able to kind of get out of their funk here and put up some runs, or are they going to struggle against a team that can strike out? Then on the other side of things, Toronto's offense, they don't strike out, but in terms of runs scored, they just haven't been able to manufacture that. So it's an intriguing matchup for two teams, I think, that are looking to get back on track here a little bit. So, how in the world, C-Bomb says he's listed, but he cannot text on this. It says Grandma, but it's Grind My Gears Tuesday. Because he goes, you're riding your bike in this fog, dude. Be careful, man, all right? Be careful. Oof, man. All right. Yikes. What's grinding your gears, peeps? You can let us know. Get it off your chest if you'd like. We'll take a quick break. Back with more baseball, more Brewers talk coming up after these few words. Baseball, we know, is back, and that means it's also brat season, baby. So swing on into Mike's Star Market and stock up for game day the right way. From a fresh and wide variety of flavorful brats, you'll for sure find something that will feed the whole crew. Whether you're tailgating or you're doing some backyard grilling or you're just catching the game at home, nothing says baseball like brats on the grill. Make every pitch, every inning, and every bite count. Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire, your home for brat season. There's an interesting piece up on Brewers.com from Adam McCulvey, and it's obviously a topic that gets talked a lot about when we get to the beginning of, the Brewers season and such. And it's always, why do people maybe kind of overlook the Brewers or underappreciate them or undervalue them, however you want to phrase it? Why do the projections always kind of seem to miss out on the Brewers? And it's a really good piece by Adam McCulvey, and I'm not going to go through it all. But essentially it was Pat Murphy wanted to kind of know this too, and he went down a rabbit hole and such. So go out there and read it. But essentially, it kind of ends. So why are the Brewers perennially undervalued? The answer is complex, it says. But one, their brand of player is just hard to project. And two, it's hard to know who to project because of different players and all this other stuff. I get it. I understand. I think those are all accurate such. But the other part for me, I think it's just simple. It's sports, man. It's sports, babe. It's, if we could project it and we could predict everything and be right on it all, that's not sports. That's not one of the main things. That's not one of the main reasons why we love sports or why sports is already awesome as it is. We can sit here and this is what we do, right? As fans, whether we're sitting in our man caves or we're sitting at the bar stool, we're sitting around the fire, we're sitting on the tailgate, or we're listening, we're doing this right now. We try to project, we try to predict, we try to analyze, we try to look at all this stuff. We have texting threads with our buddies. We do this all the time. And that's a big reason why we love sports, is because of the unknown. We try to project it, but we don't know. We always say it's why they play the game, right? That's exactly right. A lot of people try to come off as they know all. They've got it all figured out. Their analysis, their thoughts, their opinions are the right ones and everybody else is wrong. Truth of the matter is, we don't know until the game is actually played. That's the beautiful thing about sports, right? We can do all the talking leading up to a game. We can do all of the predictions and the over-analysis and such. But until those teams hit the field or they hit the courts, all that talk doesn't matter. The talking is done and the results are done by the results of the game. And that to me is one of the most beautiful things about sports. It's the outcomes are decided on the field, on the courts, on the turf, wherever it's at, on the course. And then we can kind of go back and be like, man, we got that wrong. Or, man, and then you can toot your own horn of like, yep, see, I called that. Got that right. And it's a never-ending cycle. It's a circle, right? We've all done it. You know, when we get to the draft next week, if you hit your draft pick correct, you're going to toot your horn. Good. Go for it, man. Do it. If you don't, you're like, okay, well, why'd they do this? Okay, I can see that. Man, I don't like that. I hope I'm wrong. And then, we'll see. It's the thing is, for next week when we get to the NFL draft, there's going to be people who absolutely love their picks for their favorite teams, or there's going to be people who don't get it and they're not happy, and they're going to already. That's why I don't like to grade drafts right after the drafts to assign letter grades, because you're going to hear this a lot next week and the days after. Let it play out. We don't know how these picks are going to work out. Let's see them get on the field. Let's see them get into games and such. So while we have all of these, whether it's Pro Football Focus or these Pacoda projections or whatever the case may be, we have all this stuff. They're great talking points. They're tools, a part of a toolbox. But the core of every sports game and every league and all that is we don't know until the games actually get going. And the results are decided between the teams and between the athletes. That's still the heart and soul and still the beauty of sports in general, in my opinion. And I think there is a place for analytics. I think there is a place for, all these advanced stuff. But I don't think it's the be-all, tell-all. I still think you need some, whether it's from a coaching standpoint or a managerial standpoint, you still need to make decisions based off your gut. You still need to make decisions based off the flow of the game, the feel of the game. You can say, like, okay, I get it, like in an NFL game, they'll say, I'm fourth down now. Advanced analytics say there's a 60% say go for it, or 60% chance to convert on this thing. Cool. Still got to make the play. That offensive line still has to block. That running back still needs to find that hole. That quarterback still needs to make that throw. That wide receiver still needs to make that catch. Or that defense still needs to make that tackle. You can't factor in the guy making the tackle or whatever. It's analytics, those advanced numbers, they have a place, but they're still not the be-all, tell-all. So, anyways, it's an interesting piece. It's a good piece. Go check it out on Brewers.com, MLB.com. But I guess I kind of want to throw it out to the rest of you. You could call it old school, new school, whatever the case may be. But how much do you think analytics, advanced numbers, whatever you want to describe it or however you want to call it, should be should be involved in sports? Like if you were coaching, kind of put yourself in the position of a baseball manager or a football coach. How much would you personally kind of use analytics, advanced scouting, again, however you want to phrase it, as part of your decision-making process? Or if you were a general manager, maybe, would you want to look at, because you're going to hear a lot of this too, and you probably already have when it comes to the draft, right? RAS scores, relative athletic scores. Goody likes those. He kind of downplays it, but you kind of look at a trend. If you were a GM, how much would you value those analytic stuff? Or do you kind of like, you know what, I'm maybe a little bit more old school. I'm going to put on my scouting cap and I'm going to take out my notebook and I'm going to trust my eye and I'm going to trust, the film. Same as a coach or manager. Put yourself in those shoes. How much would you rely on analytics? So like, okay, you're an NFL coach on the sideline. It's 4th and 2. You're on the opponent's 35-yard line. Wind, weather, doesn't give you a great option to go for the field goal. Do you go for it? Do you go for the field goal? Do you punt? Or how much do you use analytics to help make your decisions? And obviously, I hope, I really hope that analytics aren't a part of like youth sports at this point in time, but I'm sure some leagues do it. So I'm asking, kind of put yourself in the shoes of maybe a D1 or pro level. How much would you utilize those numbers in your decision-making process? Again, whether it's constructing a team or coaching a team. Think about that for a hot minute. Let me know. All right. Got to take a quick break, and we'll wrap up the first quarter. We are flying on through here this morning. We'll be right back after these quick words. Spring is here, and you know what that means. It's the perfect time to freshen up your home as well. And at Carpet City Flooring Center, now is the time to take a look at what's under your feet. And imagine, hey, what it could be. From soft, comfortable carpet that makes any room feel cozier to luxury vinyl planks and tile built for busy homes, there's something for every space, every budget, and every lifestyle. Maybe it's one room that needs a refresh, and maybe it's time for a full home update. Either way, their team is there to help guide you through it all, from choosing the right style to professional installation that you can count on. Because spring isn't just about cleaning out the old. It's about bringing in something better, a brighter space, a cleaner look, a home that feels new again. So if you're ready to upgrade this season, stop in and see what's possible. Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire, where your next project starts from the floor up. So back to the question, if you were a coach, if you were a general manager, how much would you utilize kind of analytics and all that stuff to coach your team, manage your team, or build your team? I think the easy answer for me is, I mean, it's not going to be the be-all, tell-all. It's not going to be that. And I don't think it can be that. Can it have a part? Yeah. It's the phrase I like to say. It's a tool that's a part of the toolbox. It can be a part of it. Now, I think from a coaching standpoint, it gets a little bit more difficult because you got to make decisions like that in split seconds, right? I mean, you got to do that. And I know these teams now have these assistants, these whatever you want to call them, that are in their ear saying, well, hey, so this tells us that we should go for it. But I think there's so much that you still have to go by your gut. You still have to assess what is going on in real time. The numbers may say that, but how is your team doing? You know, is this guy getting dominated up front, which could derail that decision? Is this guy just, not making his shots, which could derail? There's so much that are a part of that I don't think, from a coaching standpoint, can you just 100% every time make the decision, all right, the numbers say go for it, we're going to go for it. I don't think you could do that. And I don't think that's smart. And that's just my opinion. I mean, there's other people that have studied this more, and there's other people that have a better feel for this and all that. I still feel like there is a human element to this whole thing, that you got to trust your gut, that you got to trust your instincts. And you kind of have to see what is going on in the game. From a general manager standpoint or a front office standpoint, yeah, you got a little bit more time and maybe a little bit more of an assessment or more evidence on players based off of these numbers and these analytics. And in this case, in the NFL, if we use it as like the RAS scores or whatever, you got a little bit more time. You got a little bit more, wide examples to do. And I think, again, you can use it. It could be a part of that process. I don't think it should be 100%. I think sometimes you still have to trust your eyes. You still have to trust your brain. You still have to trust your gut, the film, all that stuff. I think there's still that human element a part of it. And I still want that human element a part of it too. I don't want it to be all robotic, and I don't want it to be all computery and scientific and mathematics. It's still sports. It's still got to be that human side of everything. All right. Coming up next hour, speaking of all that good stuff, we're going to take a look at some potential options for the Packers at wide receiver coming up next week for the draft. And for you football fans and for you Packers fans out there, with the Dontavian Wicks trade, did it move up in terms of importance for you that, okay, Green Bay's definitely got to go out there and get a wide receiver in this draft? Maybe it's moved up in the priority list for you. I don't think it's moved up to number one, and I don't think anybody is there. But if we kind of use the narrative that is out there too, that this is a loaded draft or it's a deep draft with wide receivers, should Green Bay take advantage of that this year? If it comes at the cost of maybe not addressing a position that maybe has a little bit more of a need or importance at this point in time. It's easy for us to say draft best available, and that might very well be the mindset that they go in with. But when you look at, okay, Watson technically could be a free agent next year. Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks is gone. Matthew Golden's entering his second year. Savion Williams entering his second year. I think he, still a little bit unknown. Does that move the needle? Does that rise, a little bit in terms of importance to address that position with this upcoming draft? So we'll take a look at that and take a look at some of the names that could potentially be there for day 2, day 3 for Green Bay at the wide receiver department. Continue to send me your Grind My Gears, brought to you by Toyson Ford. What is it grinding your gears? Also your sports confessions for this morning. And I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. All right, best ones, I'll read up on the air. I'm not saying blank, but I'm just saying blank. So we'll get to those coming up a little bit later on. I forgot to say good morning to Barb on our Section 105 video chat. So good morning, Barb, over there too. So if you're not driving, hit us up with those messages. Otherwise, be safe out there in the fog, okay? I still can't believe you're riding your motorcycle this morning there, C-Bomb. Holy moly, dude. Be safe. Be careful, man. All right? So, all right, just a couple minutes left to the top of the hour. So we'll get back to some more of your messages and your thoughts on that. And we are going to talk some more Badgers as well with RJ Cardinal. He'll be joining us coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. Really curious to get his thoughts on the Chris McIntosh ordeal and if he's got maybe some different names than what we threw out there yesterday. Or what's he hearing like in Madison? Maybe difference. Do they just promote from within? Does he feel like they need to go and get somebody from the Wisconsin family? Or does he prefer maybe somebody from that's outside, that's not a part of the Wisconsin family? So where are you at on that? All right? Where are you on that side? Just 2 minutes left. We got Morgan. Good morning, Morgan.
How you doing, Casper?
I am doing well. There we go.
So, Doc Rivers leaving. No real surprise. But as a thought experiment, you know how athletes will like sports hop when Jordan went to baseball and that kind of thing? Is there any coach hopping that you would do, like a cross sport coach hopping, like you would bring in, like say you could pick a football coach to come in and take Doc's job for the Bucks, whereas athletes cross over and bounce sports. Can you think of an instance where coaching would be effective in that, like just as a little experiment?
Probably not.
Not, period?
No.
What if you had to pick,
I mean, Lombardi coached basketball to a high school team to a championship, so I guess there's that.
Right. So if you say your assignment was, okay, you're a sports director, you have to pick one current NFL coach to put in the position on the sidelines with the Bucks next year, who would you pull? Just for the sake of argument.
Sean McVay.
Okay. Why?
High energy. He's kind of a nerd, so he'd probably study and understand the game of basketball. Kind of like an Eric Spoelstra, maybe, that he's the head coach of the Miami Heat right now. So,
okay.
I'd go Sean McVay.
Now, what about if you had to pick a current baseball coach to bring on to basketball?
Ben Murphy. Why not?
Oh, just because? Pulling him from the Brewers and say, come and do what you can here with the Bucks?
Get your you-know-what together sort of thing. So,
Okay, so if you had to pick one coach of all time, so Lombardi would be on the list, greatest coach. Doesn't matter if it's from a Wisconsin team or not. But the greatest coach in your mind to take on all Wisconsin teams. Like, say they had to do basketball, football, and baseball. Who would be the most universal coach, in your opinion?
They have to be from Wisconsin?
Nope.
Like a Wisconsin, or just
any coach in history as a skill set that would be able to tackle any of a Wisconsin team. So say you have the Bucks, you have the Brewers, you have the Packers, and you're going to put one universal, utilitarian, mass appeal, multi-skill set coach in the middle of that and say, all right, go. Who do you think?
I'll take Lombardi off because I know everybody's going to pick that. I'm going to go Phil Jackson. That's the first name that popped in my head.
And what about Phil Jackson? Like, what are the 3 bullet points that have you putting him right there in that list?
I mean, he's a winner.
Yeah.
He has proven to manage egos.